PSLV was a very challenging project. For the first time, we are graduating to an operational vehicle from instead of making amateur vehicles like SLV3 and ASLV. My professional life started in August 1967 when I joined Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. In those days it was known as Hindustan Aircraft Limited. And I joined the testing group in the design bureau. It was a small group of about 13 people who were responsible for carrying out all the structural and functional tests of ground tests of the aircraft to qualify it for its flight. Actually, Dr. Srinivasan was my predecessor in that department in the testing group, and he was leaving for US to do his PhD. And I was taken as a substitute for him, and we were together for about 3 months or so. And we did the ground resonance testing of HAT-16 aircraft at that time together. Okay. Then Dr. Srinivasan left and I continued in that. And the 3 years was a good period of learning for me because there were seniors were there in the department and they could mentor me with reference to how to go about doing any testing and also how a lean method of doing tests and things like that. And later I just saw an advertisement from ISRO, in those days SSTC, asking for a structural engineer in the area of structural testing. And I thought that, okay, this is a new organization and then probably my prospects will be better in the new organization as compared to Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and then I applied for it. I was selected as engineer SD and joined ISRO on October 5th, 1970. Surprisingly, when I was in the recruitment division, reporting for duty or joining the duty, and I just looked to my left and I found in another table Dr. Srinivasan was sitting there. He has also come down to join ISRO on that day. So I was once a substitute. Here we are joining as colleagues in ISRO on the same day. It was a very odd coincidence in a sense. Of course, I just joined Dr. Srinivasan and myself were colleagues in structures division also. And he was very much interested in design and I was also interested in design and testing. And we worked probably for about 3 years or so before Dr. Srinivasan moved over to SLV3, whereas I continued in structures division. And in 1974, I became the deputy head of structural engineering division as the then head, Dr. Ambara, used to go often to US as he was having his family over there. And I was also made the project director for the environmental test facilities, which was a very new field for me in setting up the space simulation chamber, the kinetic heating, aerodynamic heating simulator, and dynamic balancing machine et al. And all this I could do successfully by about 74 to 77. Another very important development in those days was 2 things happened. One, of course, in way back in 1970 itself, and structures division was given the project for setting up the ground-based launcher system for launching the SLV3. So I was made the project leader for it, and on my own I assembled a team of engineers to design and develop the launcher. And I was also made another very important development was as the chairman of the failure analysis board for chemical and mechanical systems of SLV3. Now, these two tasks gave me a very vast scope of learning. And my mentor once again became the VSSC library. So that was a very good period. And towards the end, of course, I also learned about the non-destructive testing, the limits of it, the fracture mechanics. Probably I was the first fellow to learn fracture mechanics in ISRO. And all these things came in handy for me when I joined PSLV, because there all this knowledge was essential. We chose maraging steel, a fracture critical material. And how do we go about doing it? So my background knowledge of learning before, almost 3 years I have been tracking the fracture mechanics. So all that came in handy for me to handle my responsibility as the Deputy Project Director of Mechanical Systems. So if you honestly ask me, who is your mentor? My mentor is VSSC Library. You know, I'm quite taken by surprise that how unrelated titles of journals have things which are of required for me in my service kind of things. Okay, these are the things that happen. Of course, the PSLV was a very challenging project. For the first time, we are graduating to an operational vehicle from instead of making amateur vehicles like SLV3.